chemical process system. So it involved a batch reaction. So that means it takes place, two batches of chemicals are mixed together, and the aim is to get the maximum yield. So how do you do a designed experiment? So the system consists of a stirred tank reactor. So there's a tank in which the stirring mechanism is there. So that is called the reactor. Into that you add reactant 1 and catalyst. So that you keep there. Then you add reactant 2 slowly to the reactant 1 till the reaction consumes reactant 1. Okay, so this is the process. And so first step is to identify what is the response variable. So what is that we are interested in? So many times there may be several response variables. So you have to be careful. For example, machining, we want good tool life, we want good surface finish, we want low cutting force. So many response variables may be there. So we have to identify. The first step in planning any experiment is to identify the response variable. Just like in measurement, we say measurand. Identifying the measurand is the first step. So here the response variable is yield. Now we have to identify what are the possible factors. So in measurement uncertainty also, we identify what are the possible sources of uncertainty. Just like that, we identify all the factors to be studied. So in this system, there were 6 factors were identified. First is temperature. The factors are denoted by letters usually in design of experiments. A, B, C, D, E, F are the factors. So temperature, reactant 2 percentage excess. So you are adding reactant 2 to the tank containing reactant 1. So how much excess you add? And then we can also decide the levels. What are the normal levels? So that is what we start with. So temperature, the normal levels are 75 and 85 degrees Celsius. Now reactant 2 percentage excess, you can add 4% or 8% excess. Then how fast you add reactant 2? Time to add reactant 2. You can add in 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Then agitation, RPM of stirrer. How fast you mix the reactant 1 in the tank. So 100 RPM or 200 RPM. Then solvent reactor 1 ratio. So in the tank you have solvent and reactant 1 mixed together in the ratio 1:1. And that is one level. And other level possible is you can have double the amount of solvent, so dilute solvent. So the ratio is 2:1. And then how much catalyst you add? You can add 20 milligram per liter catalyst or 40 milligram per liter. So we try to identify normal, low, and high levels in the first step. Okay. So we need not continue with this. In the first trial, we'll choose these levels. Excuse me. Okay. So we start with what is called a screening experiment. The purpose of a screening experiment is to identify which are the most important factors. So initially we have started with 6 factors. It is not likely that all the factors are equally important. So when we start studying a system, there will be a large number of factors. We are not sure whether they have an effect or not. So we try to identify the most important factors. So such a design is called a screening design. So that later we carry out a detailed study only on the important factors. We don't have to waste time studying the unimportant factors. So thereby resources are not wasted, and the designs recommended are fractional factorial designs or Plackett-Berman designs. So these are names of the designs. Okay, factorial design is all possible combinations, and if you choose a fraction from that, you'll get a fractional factorial design. So the design is usually written in a matrix like this. So the first column is the run order. The order in which you do the experiment is a randomized run order. Then the standard order is the second column, which is usually low, high, etc. And for fractional, of course, it will not follow that pattern directly. So fractional factorial designs are a fraction of the full factorial. So in the full factorial, it will be low, high, low, high, low, high. So here we have A, B, C, D, E, F. So we study all the 6 factors. So run 1 is here. Run 1 is standard order 12. A is -1, B is -1, C is -1, D is -1, E is -1, F is -1. So what does that mean? That means A is at low level. So we said temperature was 60 degrees. So that is the low level. High level +1 means temperature is 70 degrees, like that. So each variable -1 means low level, +1 means higher level. Okay, so each combination you find out the yield. So we do total 12 runs and find out the yield for each combination. And then we see where the yield is high. Okay, so the yield is, so the optimum condition is, so we are trying to maximize the yield. So optimum condition is close to this reading, whichever is high, and then maybe we modify the levels accordingly. So we test statistically and identify the most significant factors. So in this experiment, we got the result that A, C, and F are important. So B, D, E are not that important. We can't say that they won't have any effect, but they are not that important. So we are not interested in getting 100% exact solution. Because of experimental variability, we'll never get 100% correct result. So if you can get 80%, 90%, it is good enough. So if 3 variables can be used to predict up to 90% of the response, correct response, that is good enough. So that's why we choose first 3 factors as the most important one and do a detailed study on these 3 factors. So the type of design chosen for that is a factorial design. So factorial design means all possible combinations. So we start with 2 levels for each factor. So if you have 3 factors, how many combinations will be there? So first factor can be low, high. Second factor can also be low, high. Third factor can also be low, high. So for if you are having 2 levels for each factor, then totally 8 runs will be there. So this is the factorial design. So since higher temperature was giving better yield, we tried to shift slightly the temperature A from 70 to 80. Instead of that, we use 80 to 90. So that's what, in wherever possible, try to move towards the optimum. And this is the standard order. Standard order is 80, 90, 80, 90, etc. So 80, 90, this will be 15, 15, low level. So low, high, low, low, 4 lows. The next will be again 80, 90. This will be high, and this will be again low. Like that, systematically we increase one by one, and we can get 8 runs will be there for the full factorial. Then we add certain runs for testing curvature. So that is this 85. So how do you test curvature? So here we have chosen only low and high levels. So if we get the response of between 80 and 90, we take the average of 80 and 90 and compare with that actual response at 85. If both are similar, then there is no need of curvature. So curvature is not significant. Otherwise, curvature is significant. So that's why we add some central points here. So 85, 20, 40. These are central points added to test for curvature. So this is the curvature column. So average actual value at the center minus the predicted value based on the 2 endpoints. That difference is called curvature. So after the second set of runs, we confirm that all factors are important. There were interactions. So interactions are significant. Response could not be described by a straight line model. So the curvature is significant. So response cannot be described by a straight line model. So these are the results of the second experiment. So now we go to the third stage, final optimization, curve function. Since there is nonlinearity, we have to go for a curve function. So the type of design recommended is the central composite design. So this is in addition to the full factorial design and center points. So that's why this is advantageous that we can augment the factorial design and get central composite design. We will not go into the depth of all this. We'll just introduce you to the subject. So those who are interested can take my course on design of experiments later, next semester. So by augmentation of the factorial design, we can optimize the experiment. So this is the second part. So already we have done some runs. Now in additional, the next levels are not low and high. They go beyond. So root 2 times or root 3 times. There are 3 factors, root 3 times. So 76.4, temperature is varying from 76.4, 93.7. Then it becomes central composite design. So this is in addition to the factorial design points, which you have already done. Okay, so here we can see 11.4 to 28.7, like that. Okay, so this is done later in the same design. So that's why we are treating as another block. So what is block, we'll discuss later. So once again, we measure the yield. So up to these 20 runs, and then we analyze the results. So finally, we get the result as optimum condition. Reaction temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. Addition time for reactant 2, 20 minutes. Catalyst concentration, 40 milligram per liter. So these are the optimum conditions. So this is how we can optimize a process using designed experiments. Okay, so that we conclude the case study. So how did we do the experiment? A strategy of sequential experimentation. In order to minimize our experimental effort, we do experiments sequentially. So how did we start? So we start with the known factors. They have to be included because we know that they are significant. So they have to be included. Then unknown factors, we do a screening experiment, and after screening experiment, they can get mixed with the known factors. Then we did the crude optimization. So that is the second stage where we calculated the effects. So here we just identify whether a factor is likely to be significant or not. In the second, we calculate the effects. So what is effect? Okay, it is a value when factor is high minus the value when factor is low. So we'll not go into the details. I'll just introduce you to this term, that's all. So we estimate the effects in the second stage. And then we also tested for curvature. So whether a straight line model is enough or we have to go for a curved model. So if curvature is significant, then we have to go for a third stage of experimentation, which is response surface design. So in the response surface design, we have usually, so here we had only 2 levels in screening. In testing curvature, we had a center point, and in response surface design, we had 5 levels for each factor. So at the end, we confirm whether the factor is significant. And if curvature is not there, we can directly go for a confirmation experiment to verify that whatever we have done gives the proper results. Because we have done a fractional factor and all, we may not have done the possible combination at all. So we have to verify with a confirmation experiment. And in case of response surface design, again, we have to do a confirmation experiment to verify the result. So if the confirmation experiment does not match our experimental result, then we have to back up. We have to go back and rectify. If the confirmation is okay, then we can celebrate our experiment is successful. So this is the sequential experimentation strategy. Okay, so what are the requirements of a good design? So there are several designs possible. So statisticians are coming up with new and new designs. Nowadays, we have computer-generated designs. So many designs are come up. So what are the requirements of a good design? So first, the objective of the design should be clear. And similarly, the objective of our experiment should also be clear. What is the aim of your experiment? You should be clear. And accordingly, you have to choose the experimental design. So if it is screening, you have to choose a proper screening design. If it is optimization, you have to choose a central composite design, etc. Then the effects should be unobscured. So the design should be such that we can identify which factor is causing the effect. So in some cases, in fractional factorial designs, there may be some some effects may be obscured. So that's why we have to go for second stage and all. Then the design should be balanced. So we should not give undue importance to any factor. So it should be equally, the experiment should be balanced for all factors. Then the experiment should be free of bias. For that, we have several tools like blocking, randomization, and replication. So we'll discuss this now. And then the experiment design should be such that we can estimate the variability. So we can identify how much is the variability. So to test for significance, statistically, we need to know, we need to have a measure of the variability in our experiment. Okay. So that is a requirement of the design. So if your experiment does not have repeated readings, then we cannot test for variability, or we have to make use of several assumptions. So, and then the best design is the one with better precision, that is with less number of trials, tender points. So many solutions are there to all this. So we don't have time to discuss everything. So let's say those who are interested can take my PG course next semester if you are interested. Okay, so the better design is the one with better precision. So now the three tools we'll discuss in more detail. So blocking is keeping the noise factors constant, keeping noise factors similar, so that the effect of noise variables is balanced. So for example, this is a very interesting, is for example, if you want to compare tires, okay? So if you want to compare two makes of tires and you have say 10 cars, so what will you do? So 5 cars you put say MR of tires, 5 cars you put JK tires and compare the life of the tires. But we can't ensure that the tires are traveling along the same road. So different cars, they'll be traveling different roads. Some may be traveling in smooth roads. Some may be traveling in bad roads. So finally, when we compare and we get a difference between the lives, so we cannot say, is it because of the roads traveled by that tire, or is it because of the difference in the roads traveled? Okay, it can be that effect can be due to tire make or road. So in case of blocking, it's a simple trick. How can we solve this problem for tire life? So same car, left tire you give it say MR of make, right tire you put it JK make. And then we can compare the life between left and right. So that is the idea of blocking. So you are balancing the effect of noise variables. So in each car, the left and right tires are balanced. So in half the cars, left tire should be JK, other half left tire should be MRF. Like that, you have to plan your experiment. So that is called blocking. Then randomization. So experiments should be conducted in random order. So that is why many times people say that my experience shows that this medicine is effective. But that is a problem with because you have only one person. So for example, one person, I prayed to God and I got rank in exam. And then he says, okay, the reason for why I got rank is because I prayed to God. But we can't really conclude based on one person's data. So only one person got the rank. So many other people also prayed, but why everybody did not get the rank? So that is why experiments have to be conducted, and even personal experience cannot be used as in scientific claims. So mostly Ayurveda, etc., they use such personal experiences to prove the quality of their medicine. So which is not correct. So you have to plan an experiment beforehand and carry out the experiment in random order. So that is how they test the vaccines. So you take 10,000 people, 5,000 give real vaccine, the other 5,000 you give a dummy vaccine, okay, a placebo, so which does not have medicine inside. But people will not know. Nobody, the concerned people will not know who has got the real vaccine, who has not got the real vaccine. And then you compare the infection rates in the two groups. So then only we can really identify which medicine is, which vaccine is more effective. So, so randomization helps us to eliminate bias due to lurking factors. So the more you have different varieties of subjects, suppose you do your vaccine testing only in one country, so then that results are applicable for the genetic pool of that country. So that is why, so for initially when one vaccine manufacturer wanted to come to India, then Indian government said, no, you have to test it here also. We don't know whether it is working there all right, but whether it works here or not, we don't know. So they said, okay, you have to do the test here. But afterwards they said, okay, it's all right, we'll give emergency approval. So when there was a shortage of vaccine, India government accepted all the vaccines now, okay, whether Johnson or the other one, okay. So experiments should be conducted in random order. So medical statistics and all, of course, nowadays because of this COVID, lot of articles have come up how they test vaccines, etc. If you have read through, you can easily follow this. Then replication. So what is replication? It is essentially repetition, but the one condition is that you should have to reset all the factors. So repetition, resetting all factors, then it is called replication. So this improves the precision by taking repeated readings. You know, sigma of x bar is sigma by root n. So that is the same thing. So as the number of trials increases, the precision in the average will improve. So other point is resetting all factors. What do you mean by resetting all factors? So you adjust the factors again. For example, if you are setting some temperature at 100 degrees Celsius. So last trial was 100 degrees Celsius. Next trial is also 100. So you have to adjust and put it back to 100 because the variability in setting. So that will cause variability in the response. So in order to get that variability, we have to do resetting of all the factors. Then it is called replication. So if you don't adjust some variables, then we say it is partial replication. Then the standard deviation is reduced. So your significance level have to be, or the effects have to be higher for it to be significant. So replication is repetition with resetting of factors. Okay, with that we conclude the basic theory portion. So books on this, I think I have given some links, some chapters from each book. So Lawson and Rzovic, one chapter I have put in the EduServer site. So please read through. I think I have not given this slide mainly because this slide does not have the explanation. It just say correlation not equal to causation. So you have to understand the meaning of that term, and then only you will be able to answer the questions in the quiz. Okay. So what is correlation? What is causation? All these things you have to ask and try to answer. So you have to spend some time studying this. I have given one, this Paul Matthews book is also one good one. That is a little more advanced chapter. So this is essential reading, that Lawson and Rzovic chapter. Paul Matthews, those who want to get high marks should read the chapter by Paul Matthews, the introduction chapter. Then there's a website, statis.com. They are the makers of the design expert software, which can be used to plan and conduct experiments. So Thus, design of experiments helps you obtain fewer results with, superior results with fewer experiments. With less number of experiments, we get better results. So next we'll do a small demonstration of a designed experiment. So how do we do a designed experiment? So we'll use software. So that was a problem in the Fisher era. The